How rapid city growth is impacting housing affordability. The rapid growth of rapid city is driving up housing costs and reducing affordability. Many inhabitants are finding it more difficult to find affordable homes as the city grows due to rising expenses brought on by a shortage of supply and increased demand. To provide more accessible and inclusive housing options for everyone, this article examines the issues and suggests solutions. The cities in which we live, work, and play are changing due to several factors, including rapid urbanization and changes in population and technology. This study investigates the effects of these changes on the housing market in large cities, as well as the increasing diversity of household types and needs, and the emergence of residential real estate as a mainstream investment industry. These elements are causing growing housing costs, a lack of affordable housing, and unyielding supply of housing in many cities. In turn, these issues jeopardize not only the stability of the financial system, but also the standard of living, social cohesion, and competitiveness of cities, both domestically and globally. As a result, the Urban Land Institute ULI advises that to better serve the demands of various household kinds and income levels, communities should concentrate on building more housing, including a wider variety of options. Mixed-use, well-connected surroundings with high-quality placemaking are the cornerstones of good density, which may be applied to build integrated urban landscapes that serve a variety of economic and population groups and enhance a city's vitality and authenticity. The global economic order is changing due to megatrends. These changes, which include urbanization, the growth of middle classes around the world, population aging, and technology advancements, have a significant impact on the built environment and housing demand both now and in the future. The United Nations has released its most recent forecasts, which indicate that an additional 3 billion people could join the world's population by the end of the century, up from the projected 2.9 billion in the next 33 years. Meanwhile, economic, climate change, and conflict-related factors are predicted to fuel the city-dwelling trend, with 80 to 90% of people predicted to live in cities by 2100 United Nations 2017. Cities suffer several obstacles as a result of population increase and urbanization, including air pollution, traffic, social problems, and pressure on property markets. There are various ways to analyze the strain on home markets. The question of financial market stability is crucial when examining the problem from the standpoint of the financial markets, but from a social and economic standpoint, the concerns associated with it, such as affordability, urban competition, and social segregation, come to the fore. Large metropolitan centers in Europe and the United States were frequently overcrowded and collapsing at the beginning of the industrial age. The ease of traveling outside of cities and towns coincided with the rise of vehicle ownership, which began to mobilize urban populations. With access to green space, clean air, and reasonably priced dwellings, this also enabled the middle class to live better lives. Along with the exodus of residents from cities came corporate relocations to suburban office parks and a concentration of retail in easily accessible out-of-town shopping centers. As sprawl persisted in the 1980s, pollution, traffic, and pollution levels all rose along with inhabitants' reliance on automobiles. Individuals who lived further away from cities spent more time traveling. Gradually, concerns about urban sprawl emerged, prompting urban planners to reevaluate policies and developers to promote mixed-use developments and urban regeneration in city centers. This was in keeping with the increasing emphasis on sustainability and lowering carbon emissions. Cities have been significantly impacted by the shift in many developed economies from an industrial to a service-led economy. Numerous cities that were originally industrialized have changed. Strategies aimed at promoting the growth of the service, tourist, information, and creative industries now center on older industrial zones. Market squares have been transformed back into public areas, contaminated waterfronts have been restored, and areas around railroad stations have undergone renovations. As a result, people are choosing to live, work, play, and invest in cities more and more. Cities are becoming hubs for social, cultural, and economic activity. They now draw enterprises and institutional investors who are concentrating solely on urban regions, in addition to a new generation of city dwellers and a generation that was raised in the suburbs but has since discovered the allure of city living. A growing number of people in many cities choose to rent rather than own property, partly due to the growth of the sharing economy and a desire for more freedom. Urban populations are changing quickly at the same time. More than 1 million migrants arrived in Europe in 2015, according to the International Organization of Migration (IOM), with origins spanning more than 100 nations, McKinsey Global Institute 2016. Many of these individuals become city dwellers. According to United Nations estimates from 2017, 25% of Europeans are 60 years of age or older. By 2050, that number is expected to rise to 35%, and by 2100, it will reach 36%. This has led to a multitude of generations residing in cities today. In contrast to the past, when a child arrived, families were more likely to stay in the city, and when people grew older, more of them chose to retire there. Three after effects of the growth of big cities: the problems of affordably priced housing. The rising demand for housing is one of the effects of cities' increasing appeal, especially in big international cities. As Figure 1.1 illustrates, the property market completely collapsed in several cities, particularly in the Netherlands during the financial crisis of the late 2000s. As a result of population growth in cities and quickly shifting expectations, there was an increasing mismatch between supply and demand. When the building started up again, it was unable to meet the demand for homes quickly enough. As a result, the cost of living in many cities has rapidly grown, along with property prices. This has caused dangers in the financial markets as well as a housing affordability problem that is forcing smart young professionals and lower-skilled workers out of big cities. Increasing investment specifically in residential real estate. The concentration of foreign cash and real estate investment in cities is shifting towards residential properties, leading to pressure on housing prices. Through the many cycles, investors can also contribute to keeping the housing market more stable. See SEC for additional details regarding the effect of institutional investors on the housing market. Restricted land availability and delivery complexity. There is a severe shortage of land available for new developments in many cities. Large-scale, intricate urban regeneration initiatives are used in many European cities to produce new housing, keeping it within the urban core and preventing further urban expansion. These projects combine the development of real estate and infrastructure with a broad spectrum of stakeholders and substantial financial outlays. They therefore typically take a very lengthy time from start to finish. Increasing prices. Affordable housing is hampered by the rapid increase in land values brought about by the scarcity of available land and the high demand. A diminishing labor pool, rising material and resource costs, and the market expectation of low-density housing are some of the market dynamics that drive construction costs in addition to the high cost of land in cities. All of these have an impact on housing costs and what individuals can afford to buy and rent. Housing needs to change to meet the increasing demands brought about by demographic trends. These include adaptable micro-living arrangements, reasonably priced homes with more room for families, and housing designed with senior citizens' needs in mind. Regulations prevent or impede the development of novel and creative housing typologies in many cities. Overall, members of the Urban Land Institute have discovered that regulations seem to respond slowly to shifting housing market demands in the European cities in which they operate. Low rates of new buildings, a delayed supply of new housing stock, and higher pricing for new units are the results of this. The result of all these factors together is high housing costs and little supply elasticity. Regulations such as rent caps that make housing cheap and suitable for everybody can assist control the housing market if they are implemented properly. In summary, the affordability of housing is being strained by rapid cities' rapid growth, with rising costs and a limited supply causing serious issues. To ensure that all citizens have access to acceptable and affordable housing, addressing these concerns will need creative urban design and a variety of housing alternatives. If you found this video mind-boggling as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Stay tuned for more shocking stories and unraveling mysteries. Don't miss out.